Once there was a little ladybug. How wonderfully happy was she. She had a house, a family, and her best friend, Bonnie Bumblebee. Oh yes, Ruby was a very lucky ladybug. One day, something different happened. On her way to school, she was talking with every buggy on the bus, when out from the window, what did she see? Why, it was a bumblebee, just like her friend Bonnie Bee. But this bee was sitting with her arms fully stretched, asking for someone to help. This bee wasn't like her friend Bonnie at all. This bug was in an old, worn, dirty beige jacket. Her hat just laid on the ground with a little bit of change in it. But aside from all that, the first thing Ruby did notice were the bumblebee's eyes. They were simply the saddest that she had ever seen. The tears in her eyes were bigger than the dew in the morning upon the leaves. But just as they passed, their eyes met and Ruby felt something she'd never felt yet. Ruby felt terribly sad and quite angry. Ruby wasn't angry at the bug on the street, but she felt most angry that the bug had to ask others for help. She was sad for the bug, even though she didn't quite understand fully. All through the school day, all Ruby could do was think of the bug she saw on the street. Even at gym, when they played her favorite basket bug ball. Then, later that night, when Ruby climbed into bug bed, she asked her mom,
Mama, this morning I saw a bug on the street asking for food. Why does she do that?
Well,
Mrs. Dottie hesitated. She was not excited about telling her 5-year-old daughter about homelessness, but Ruby just had to know.
there are some bugs that are not as lucky as we are. Some bugs don't have a place to sleep tonight, a fridge to go to, and no buggy loves them.
Ruby was silent for a few moments. Then she said,
It makes me awfully sad.
Mama replied,
Well, you know, Ruby, if you do something to help change the problem, maybe your heart won't feel so sad.
There were a few seconds of silence.
Good night, Mama. I love you.
I love you too.
Mama replied. She turned out the lights and went right to sleep. That same night, as Ruby drifted off, she had a dream. Not the kind of dream you get at night, though. The kind of dream which is almost like a wish that happens when you're awake. Any bug. Ruby envisioned a world where everyone had a cozy bed and enough food, and that every buggy loved each and every homeless buggy. Then she thought, if every buggy is going to have a place to stay and food to eat, we need to care and help each other too. As she thought about this, she envisioned all of Buggyville caring and helping each other, and even the homeless bugs. With this wonderful thought dancing in her little head, she fell asleep and had a nighttime dream. The next morning at Ruby's school, she went to her grade 1 teacher, Mrs. Hilderbug, and asked,
Excuse me, I was on the bus yesterday morning and I saw a homeless bug on the sidewalk, and it makes my heart feel really sad. I want to do something about it, so I was wondering if I could talk to the class about homelessness and have a lunch meeting with you and talk about what we could do to help.
Ruby finished.
Why, yes, of course, Ruby. That's the finest idea I've heard in a while.
Ruby's heart felt a little better. So over bug lunch, Ruby and Mrs. Hilderbug talked about Ruby's plan. Ruby spoke from her little sad heart. She believed if other bugs heard about the terribly sad-hearted bugs that lived a hungry and homeless life every day, that they would want to help and to care. So off she did go with her plan in her mind and hope in her heart. She stood in front of her grade 1 class, and this is how her plan for the world started. After hearing about homeless bugs on the streets, her friends went to their parents and told them what Ruby had told them, that there were homeless, sad bugs who slept and lived out on the streets. So all of the buggies and their parents brought to Bugmoral Hall School Buggy Berry Pie, nectar juice, and cozy bug blankets to give to the poor. Her classmates drew their best pictures and sold them all to the big bugs who came out to help. Ruby's heart sparkled, her sadness disappeared, and her hope in the bugs that were now helping and caring grew. Then Ruby noticed as the bugs started to care for the homeless and the hungry bugs, they also started to take better care of each other, and the love really showed. Ruby then realized, even though she was just one little bug, if she tried with all her might and believed, she could show people that kindness, caring, and sharing can change the whole world. The great, wonderful thing about giving love away is that you get a lot more love in return. So Ruby carried on with a heart full of love, wings dusted with hope, and knowing that kindness can and will change the world. Oh yes, Ruby was a very lucky ladybug.